Good morning and welcome to video 2 from the writing desk. I'm Sue and I notice I have some new followers. We're up to 7 and I don't seem to work out how I can see who's who, and if you'd like to pop a quick hello in the comments, then I can see who you are and I can say thank you in a better way. And what I'm going to do is, for my new followers, if you haven't already had this book, this is my first published book. Began with a short story that I wrote for the magazines, but it didn't get accepted. It's called the Redington Millions, and although it didn't get accepted, I liked the story and I had 100% faith in that the story would be published somewhere one day, which always happens. So if you believe in something you've written, keep it in the drawer. And one day what happened was, there's a new online magazine called Creative Frontiers, and they were looking for writers who were a little bit different from the average. That's me. And I thought, I'll send my story and see if they like it. And what happened was, the editor did like the story and he wanted to publish it like a bit every day as a serial. And then he said to me, but in the story, he said, can you make me like duff moments, like, you know, in EastEnders where something happens. For instance, like in this first story, it starts off with a character called Rita, wins the lottery, but then she's worried it'll change her life, and she's really quite happy with her life already. So a duff bit might be where she's won the lottery and then the phone rings and her daughter's on the phone and she said, I've got some news, Mum. You'll never guess what. And then that ended for that day, the duff, to keep the readers coming back. So that's what we aim for. When you get into your writing, you know that at the end of definitely at the end of each chapter, you need something that makes them carry on and want to read the next chapter. So, and then what happened was, the editor then said, can you do me another story? I thought, yeah, okay. But he said, the village seems such a warm, happy place, this little village in Norfolk, a made-up place, in my imagination, but it's quite real in my imagination. He said, can we have another story in the village? So I thought, now then, what if there was some new arrivals? Because at this point the village was quite new in my mind. So I had somebody that was quite boring, that had been there a long while, and he was being very nosy watching these new arrivals. And it's like a little story that's just wrapped up in about 1,000 to 2,000 words, just as a short story would be. And then that went down really well with readers. They loved that story and they said, oh, are there any more stories from the village? So I said, go on then, do one more. And this was about a farmer and his daughter, and how things were hard for the farmers and they had to diversify. So what would they do? And it just went on. As it happened, there was a murder in that story and it brought in other characters. So by now the little village is growing in characters, and in my mind it's growing. It's the place where people like to be, but strange things do happen there. And you can guess what happened. He said, oh, that went down really well, can you do another one? I said, I'll try. Yeah, I think I can. It's funny when you're writing, if you've got someone asking for your stories saying, can you do another one? Write another one. It's surprising how you can. It's when you've got your readers, that's what keeps you going. So for all you people who read my stories and my books, you know who you are. I am very grateful. And my number one fan is my mom, who's over there. I'm talking, Mom, can you hear me? I'm saying you're my number one fan, but she's asleep, so I think she's sleeping, so I won't shout too loud. But she's always my number one fan, and this is the book Mum takes to the hairdressers with her when she goes to the hairdressers. She takes this book and they'll say, do you want a magazine? She says, no, I'm reading this. Anyway, it went on and I did another till I thought, that's enough for a book. So I put them together like this in this book, and then the editor at the time of my weekly pocket novels got to hear about the book and she said, can you send it me to read? and they had this in the My Weekly office, and she said they really enjoyed it, but it's not really, it wasn't one complete story, it was different stories. Each chapter was a different story, but the book is like the character, and they all decided, yes, we will publish that as a pocket novel. So I kind of broke the mould in that it wasn't a complete story, it was lots of short stories put together, but they had one thing in common: they're in the village. Chapter 7, for instance, treacle toffee and poison coffee. Another murder in that one. And let me see which is my favourite story in the book. I like them all. I'm a bit vain like that, actually. I read this and I think, did I really write this? It's brilliant. I like Midnight on Coley Hill. That's a Halloween one, so I think you'd like that, Emma, a Halloween one. And then I have, oh, this is a nice one as well, Ghost of Windmill Walk. And what I like to put at the end, each chapter has like a little strap line underneath, so you get a gist of what the story's about. So I've got The Ghost of Windmill Walk, Autumn, the season of mists and mellow fruitfulness, John Keats. I told you I like poetry. Anyway, what I'm going to do is, I have 3 of these to give away. I'm not sure if that's coming back to front or not. If it's back to front, I'll have to do the video again. A little book. I have 3 to give away. If you haven't already, if you've got it, obviously you wouldn't want it, but if you haven't had it and you would like a copy, I'll comment below, please. And to leave you until next time, I have a poem here to read that my mum has in a frame. She's always had it framed. I had this published in My Weekly a long time ago. It was my first published poem, and she keeps it on the windowsill, so whoever's washing up gets to see this poem. And here it is. Rich is a feeling. Rich isn't cold coins and dirty notes. Rich is a feeling. Wealth isn't piles of cash and wads of tenors. Wealth has more meaning. Rich is when you can sing with pride. Rich is smiling. To breathe the fresh air in the spring. See blue tits darting. Nature brings us riches galore. Every season has more wealth in store. Watching the changes is such a pleasure. Rich is a feeling you just can't measure. Isn't that right? I know we all want to get rich and we dream of having all the things we want, but rich really is a feeling, and if you have someone to love and love you back and good people around you, which I have, you are so lucky and rich beyond your dreams. Okay, love to you all. And can you put who you are, because I don't know who the people are that follow me really, but thank you anyway. I'm very grateful, and I might do another video.